214,000 jobs created in October. Unemployment drops again, down to 5.8%. Revisions, Betty, make this number better than it first appears. Let's walk through the numbers. The 214,000 jobs created last month, the 9th straight month above 200,000. You get those revisions to the prior 2 months, add another 31,000 jobs. September revised to 256,000 jobs. August revised to 203,000. The 6-month average now stands at 235,000 jobs a month. Year to date, we've created 2.3 million jobs in the U.S. The household survey, 5.8% is the new unemployment rate, the lowest level we've seen since July of 2008, and it dropped for good reasons. We had the number of unemployed dropping, the number of employed in the household survey rising by 683,000. That's the best figure we've seen, best total since November of 2013 for the household survey. Participation rate, again, rising just slightly to 62.8%, and some other measures of unemployment. Long-term unemployed, 2.9 million, down just slightly. And you had the U6 number, that broader measure, down to 11.5%. Betty, that's the best number we've seen there since September of 2008. There was hiring across the board. You only saw one sector where we saw a loss in jobs. That's information, down 5,000. But we had restaurants and bars up 42,000, retail up 27,000, healthcare 25,000, construction 12,000, manufacturing 15,000. Again, pretty good numbers across the board, but no real standouts. And wages, they were up slightly, up month over month, 0.1%, and year over year up 2%. Average work week ticking up to 34.6 hours. That's the first increase we've seen there since February. Another good sign for the future. Basically, Betty, another solid report, not a blockbuster, but certainly one the Fed can look at and say it's consistent with the trend we've been seeing.
It is very consistent. Peter, just stay with me. I want to get to our chief markets correspondent, Scarlet. And Scarlet, you saw a tick up in equity futures on this.
We certainly did, Betty. We now have gains of 0.2% for U.S. equity index futures. The S&P 500 futures specifically up by 0.2%. NASDAQ futures doing better than the rest, up by 0.3%. And this all comes as everyone looks at the report and says, you know, it keeps the Federal Reserve on track with what it was planning to do. According to Michael Gapin over at Barclays, he had said before the jobs number that anything over 200,000 will be considered a good number, keeps everything on track for a tightening sometime next year, which we think comes in June. In terms of other market reactions, I'm also keeping an eye on the 2-year yield, 53 basis points right now, the 10-year yield at 2.36%. But the equity index futures are starting to pair some of their advances. These are not large advances by any stretch of the imagination, but it did give us a little bit of direction in the meantime.